I didn't find out in a dramatic way. No lawyer's call. No family meeting. I found out by accident. A forwarded email. Wrong recipient. One attachment too many. My parents' will. Everything. The house. The savings. The investments. Left to my sister. My name wasn't even listed. No explanation. No note. No, we'll talk later. Just silence, sealed in legal language. I sat there longer than I want to admit, staring at the screen, waiting for the anger to show up. It didn't. What came instead was something colder. Clarity. For years, I'd been the one covering the gaps. Utilities. Insurance. Random emergencies. Extra expenses that somehow always landed on me. They never asked directly. They'd hint. They'd sigh. They'd say things like, "We'll pay you back soon." They never did. After reading the will, I didn't call anyone. I didn't confront them. I didn't even reply to the email. I just stopped. No announcement. No warning. I turned off the auto payments one by one. Quiet clicks. Clean confirmations. It felt strange how easy it was. A month passed. Then, at 7:42 a.m., my phone buzzed. One message. From my mom. No greeting. No, "Hope you're well." Just 4 words. "The mortgage is due." I stared at it and finally understood exactly how they saw me. Not as a daughter. As a backup plan. I opened the message box and typed my reply. I didn't start helping all at once. It happened slowly, quietly. The way things always do in families. First, it was a utility bill. Just this month, my mom said, things are tight. Then insurance. Then a repair that couldn't wait. I never questioned it. They were my parents. They'd raised me. This was what grown children did, right? At least, that's what I told myself. My sister never offered. She had reasons. Always good ones. Student loans. Career stress. Trying to get on her feet. My parents accepted those reasons easily. Mine didn't need explaining. I was the reliable one. The one who answered calls. The one who didn't complain. The one who could handle it. So I did. I set up auto payments so no one had to worry. Mortgage support. Property tax installments. Extra expenses that never showed up in conversation, but always showed up on my bank statements. No thank yous. No acknowledgement. Just relief. And I thought that meant something. Looking back, I see it clearly. They didn't see help. They saw availability. They didn't see sacrifice. They saw convenience. So when I found out they'd written me out of their will completely, it didn't feel like betrayal in the moment. It felt like confirmation, a quiet answer to a question I'd been avoiding for years. And that's why, when I stopped paying, I didn't announce it. I didn't need to, because if they truly believed I wasn't essential, they were about to learn how wrong that belief was. The first week passed quietly. No calls, no messages, no confusion. I almost wondered if they'd noticed. The second week felt the same. That familiar relief crept in, the kind that tells you maybe you imagined your importance. Maybe things were fine without you. That thought didn't last, because by the third week, the silence changed. My mom stopped sending her usual updates. No casual complaints. No just venting messages. My dad didn't forward articles anymore. No jokes. No small talk. It wasn't peace. It was delay. Like a system still running on leftover power, not yet realizing the source had been cut. I didn't reach out. That was new for me. Normally, I'd check in, smooth things over, make sure no one was stressed. This time I waited, not to punish them, to see what would happen. When I wasn't there to catch things before they fell, near the end of the month, I felt it coming. That familiar tightening in my chest. The sense that something was about to land on me. People who rely on you don't panic right away. They assume you'll step in, that you always do. They wait until the problem is no longer theoretical, until it's due, until it's urgent, until it has a date attached to it. And when that moment finally arrives, they don't ask how you are. They don't explain. They don't apologize. They just reach out. Because in their minds, you were never gone. You were just late. My name is Clara. I was 36 years old when all of this happened. Old enough to know the difference between helping and being expected to help. From the outside, my life looked stable. Good job. Own apartment. No chaos. That's why no one worried about me. In my family, stability didn't earn care. It earned responsibility. If I struggled quietly, that was strength. If my sister struggled loudly, that was a crisis. I learned early not to ask for much. I paid my own way through school. I built my life without help. Somehow, that turned into proof that I could handle more. More bills, more stress, more silence. I wasn't the favorite. I was the fallback. The person you don't thank because you assume they'll always show up. So when my parents wrote me out of their will, it didn't just hurt. It explained things. It explained why my sacrifices were invisible, why my sister's needs were urgent, and mine were optional. And sitting with that truth changed something in me. Not loudly, not dramatically. It just rearranged the way I saw myself. I wasn't unreliable. I wasn't selfish. I wasn't difficult. I was dependable, and dependability unchecked becomes something people take for granted, which meant the text my mom sent later wasn't surprising at all. It was inevitable. The text came early, too early. 7:42 a.m. No good morning, no emoji, no warmth. Just 4 words. The mortgage is due. That was it. No question mark, no explanation. Not, can you help? Not, are you able to? A statement, an expectation. I stared at the screen longer than I should have, not because I didn't know what to say, because I finally understood what I had always been to them. Not a daughter, a buffer. Something that stood between them and consequences. I scrolled up, half expecting context. There was none. No mention of the will. No acknowledgement of the silence. No awareness that something had changed. In her mind, nothing had. I was late. That was all. I thought about all the times I'd paid before being asked, all the times I'd stepped in early, so problems never reached this stage. This time, I hadn't, and now the problem had a deadline. I didn't feel angry. I felt calm, the kind of calm that comes when a decision has already been made. I set the phone down and made coffee. I let the mug warm my hands. Then I picked the phone back up, not to argue, not to explain, just to respond, because some messages don't need emotion, they need accuracy. I opened the text and typed my reply. I didn't type right away. I deleted 3 drafts before settling on the 4th, not because the words were hard to find, but because I wanted them to be exact. No anger, no guilt, no apology, just truth. I finally typed, "You should ask her." That was it. No name, no explanation. I hit send and set the phone face down on the table. For a few minutes, nothing happened. Then the typing bubble appeared, disappeared, appeared again. My phone buzzed. "Mom, ask who?" I didn't reply. Another message came through. "Mom, Clara, this isn't funny." Funny. I almost smiled, because humor is what people reach for when control slips. The phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't my mom. It was my sister. No greeting, no confusion, just one line. "Why did you stop paying?" There it was. Not, "Are you okay?" Not, "Did something happen?" Just concern about the system failing. I leaned back in my chair and let the silence stretch, because this wasn't a misunderstanding. It was exposure. And once people see the structure clearly, they can't unsee it. I didn't respond to my sister either. Not yet. Because the most powerful thing in that moment wasn't what I said. It was what I didn't. The calls started that afternoon. First my mom, then my dad, then my mom again. I let them ring. Not out of cruelty, out of curiosity. I wanted to hear how long it would take before concern replaced expectation. It didn't take long. A voicemail came through. My mom's voice was tight, rushed. "Clara, call me back. This is important. Important. Not I miss you. Not are you okay. Just urgency." An hour later, another message. "Dad, we need to talk. There's been a mix-up." A mix-up. That's what people call it when a system they depend on stops working. I didn't answer. Instead, I opened my bank app. Nothing pending. Nothing scheduled. The payments were still off. The silence was doing its job. By evening, the tone changed. "Mom, we're short this month. Mom, your sister can't help right now." There it was. The unspoken rule finally spoken. She can't. So you must. I set the phone down and went for a walk. The air felt lighter than it had in years. Because for the first time, their panic wasn't my emergency. And once that realization lands, it doesn't leave. By the next morning, the messages weren't sharp anymore. They were careful. "Mom, we didn't mean to hurt you." "Mom again. You know we love you both the same." That line made me stop, not because it convinced me, because it rewrote history. Love hadn't been equal. Responsibility had. And responsibility had always been mine. Another message came in. "Dad, the will isn't what it looks like." That one almost made me laugh. Because legal documents don't look like anything. They are what they are. I finally replied, not to argue, just one sentence. I saw the attachment. That was enough. The phone stayed quiet for a full hour. When it buzzed again, the tone had shifted completely. "Mom, can we talk in person?" Not about the mortgage. Not about money. Just talk. I didn't answer right away. I needed to be sure of something first, that I wasn't stepping back into the same role, with softer words wrapped around it, because apologies that appear only when consequences arrive aren't apologies. They're negotiations. And I wasn't negotiating anymore. I put the phone down and went about my day. For the first time, I wasn't waiting to fix something. I was waiting to see what they would do when I didn't. They showed up at my door 2 days later. No warning, no text, just knocking. Careful at first, then louder. I didn't open it right away. I stood there, listening, realizing how many times I'd rushed to help them without ever being invited in. My mom spoke through the door. "Clara, we just want to talk." Talk. That word again. I opened the door halfway. They looked smaller than I remembered. Not weak. Unprepared. My dad tried to smile. "Let's not do this here," he said. "People can hear." I nodded. "That's fine." We stood there, the hallway quiet. My mom finally said it. "We didn't think you'd just stop." There it was. The assumption that no matter what they decided, no matter who they chose, I would still be there. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't explain. I just said, I adjusted my help to match my place. They didn't like that. My mom's face tightened. "You're punishing us." "No," I said. "I'm responding." Silence. My sister wasn't there. She never was when things got uncomfortable. My dad cleared his throat. "So what happens now?" I thought about it for a second. "Now," I said, "you figure it out the same way I always did." They didn't argue. They couldn't, because the truth had finally landed, and it didn't need repeating. They left quietly. No shouting. No slammed doors. Just a pause at the end of the hall, like they were hoping I'd change my mind. I didn't. When the door closed, the apartment felt different, not empty. Clear. The next few weeks were quiet. No emergency texts. No sudden expenses. They adjusted, or they were forced to. Either way, it wasn't my problem anymore. My sister didn't reach out. She didn't need to. She'd gotten what she wanted, and now she had to live with it. I didn't feel victorious. I felt settled, like something heavy I'd been carrying had finally been set down. I still love my parents. That didn't change. But love doesn't mean erasing yourself to keep others comfortable. I learned something important through all of this. Support without respect is just slow self-erasure, and boundaries don't break families. They reveal them. I didn't lose anything. I gained clarity, and sometimes that's worth more than any inheritance.